This is Professor Arujo Moreno with an overview of Learning Objective 2 in Chapter 2. This is all about the balance sheet, and balance sheets are basically snapshots of your financial well-being as of a particular day. They change over time. What do they show? They show what you own. We call those assets. Assets are things that you own. Liabilities, which are things that you owe, usually in the form of a debt. And then the difference between assets and liabilities is what we call net worth. Okay, net worth. This is really where wealth is built. This is our measure of wealth, is increasing amounts of net worth over time. Okay, so let's take a look at each category a little bit more detail. Um, Assets have many different classifications, but again, they're all things that you own. If you look at the categories, we have liquid assets, we have investments, and we have real property and personal property. Okay, so some differences in that liquid assets, things that can be turned, it's either cash or it can be turned into cash very quickly. Okay, and so those are considered liquid assets. Investments are usually assets that you're going to be holding for a longer period of time because you're hoping to get a return on them. So, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, other types of things, usually you want to hold for a long time. You could also own a business, you can have ownership in life insurance, pension plan, retirement funds, etc. Um, so investments is a pretty broad category, but the purpose of investments is usually a long-term outlook. Real property is about a house or land, things that you cannot move is considered real property. Personal property is anything that you can move. So certainly your car moves, so that's included, but anything else that you own, any household furnishings you have, clothing, jewelry, artwork, recreational equipment, etc., are all personal property. So as you see, there's an example in the book on of a balance sheet for Jack and Liz Taylor. And this is something I have asked you to study before you actually do your uh, balance sheet. But here it's as of a particular date at the end of December. This is their liquid assets that are totaled. These are the amounts of stocks, bonds, and other investments they have, and then that's totaled. They have a house. That's the only thing that classifies in this case as real property. The value of the house is what it's worth today. So, if you own a house, you can tell what other houses are going for by looking through the real estate pages. Personal property, again, all of these like your car household furnishings, jewelry. This is again what it's worth today. So how do you know what your car is worth today? You can go to KBB, kellybluebook.com, put some information in, and it'll spit out an average of what your car would be worth if you sold it today. So use that as the value of your car. For household furnishings, jewelry, other types of things, it's whatever you can get. Let's say you had a sale, a moving sale, and you were selling it on either personally on a tag sale or through Craigslist or other things. What could you get for that? What would someone literally give you for those belongings? That's the value. That's the value you would use for your assets. And notice all four categories are listed separately and then totaled for total assets. Let's take a look at liabilities before we come back and look at these sheets again. So liabilities are anything that you owe, okay? They usually classified are either current liabilities, which means you're going to owe them this year, and long-term liabilities, which means the debts are going to be paid. You owe them longer than 1 year. Okay, so there's two different ways to classify them. And so, there are lots of liabilities that are short term that you need cash to pay, which is why you'll be learning a lot about that in budgets. Cash flow is very important. So anything that you need to pay this month or this year is going to be part of your current liabilities. That includes bills that you get right now, um, and debts that that you owe, like credit cards and so forth, that you pay month to month, etc. Long-term liabilities, again, usually these are loans that are going to be paid over many years, such as a mortgage or a car loan or a student loan, things like that. Those tend to take a long time to pay down. So those would be classified as long-term liabilities. Okay. And then we're going to look at this issue called net worth before we go back to that balance sheet. So net worth is simply the difference between your assets and your liabilities. And as you see from the chart here, when you're younger, in this case, younger than 35, you don't have much of a net worth. Matter of fact, I've seen a lot of younger people with negative net worth because, for example, your student loan is a loan, it shows up on your liabilities, but your degree is not an asset because you cannot sell it. You can't put your degree as an asset and say, oh, I'm going to sell my degree to somebody, because it's not how it works, right? So oftentimes those student loans bring the net worth of younger folks into the negative category. But I've seen that pretty frequently, and that's not something to worry about when you're younger. Just know that that's where you're at and you need to dig out, right? But as you see, as you get older, most of the wealth in the country is with older folks, and they've had time to accumulate assets. They've had time to pay down debts, and it shows in terms of the net worth by age. Okay, so that is very, very important. Knowing how to calculate net worth is important, and as you'll be doing on the balance sheet. So let's go back to that worksheet that I was showing you and look at the other side of the Taylor's balance sheet. And here you see their current their current liabilities are listed. Again, they have utilities and credit cards that are due this month, and so they put that down as current liabilities. And then their long-term liabilities, all these loans that they have that they're going to be paying over a long period of time, over a year, like their mortgage and their auto loans and student loans, etc. They total up those liabilities. They compare that with the total assets, and the difference is what we call net worth. Okay. So these folks here are fortunate because they have about an $86,000 net worth. So that means their assets are worth more than their liabilities by 86,000. That's how much they actually own outright. So this is what you're going to be needing to do in this section, both with the quiz and with the activity, is to get your balance sheet done. Okay. See you soon.